What's up, guys? What is going on out there today, boys and girls? Brent Abel here, webtennis.com. Another episode of 7, around 7. Here we are, 8 a.m. actually, Mountain Time Zone, Steamboat Springs, Colorado. Hope you're having a spectacular start to your day, and that you got some tennis on tap today. I do. This morning, got a good workout session scheduled over at the Steamboat Tennis Center, and my practice partner just said, yeah, man, 10 o'clock would be great. Let's see if we can get to court. So anyway, guys, here's what I've got for you today. The mental part of the game, right? Which is like if you don't get the mental part thing figured out in matches, the game is just so maddening. It's so frustrating. And so what I want to do today is give you a little inkling of kind of what I do to try to transfer over from that practice arena court. Again, whether it's a drill session with a practice partner, it could be practice points, games, maybe not a full-on serious practice match where we got to have that arena anyway, right? With a practice match where we are actually practicing how do we want to feel, how do we want to think, or how do we want to not think during the real match, right? And the real match could be, it could be a serious against your buddy. The results are not going to be made public like it would with a league or a tournament match. But yeah, so look, before we get into it today, just a heads up reminder about tonight, midnight Pacific time zone. This offer I've got out there for you guys with your underspin slice backhand, trying to kick it up a notch, make it way more offensive without risking an unforced error. I've got a full 5-course package, 5-course meal, 5-course package for you, which includes the masterclass, but there's also 4 bonus courses that go along with the package. The price is just like stupidly great. But it's only good until tonight because I can't keep it out there forever at that price, along with all those bonuses. So there is a link down below to the description area where you can go check out the full details and get enrolled if that's what you decide to do. But you got to do it before midnight tonight, Wednesday, August 11th. Also, if you are on my email list, you will be getting an email from me today with a link that will take you over to details and how to enroll. So look, I've got a questionnaire on my members area. Hey, Rich, good morning. Rich, looking forward to having you and Jeff on tomorrow. I will get back to you later within the next 30 minutes or so, Rich, with an email to follow up on your question from last night. But so I got an email. I've got a questionnaire in the members area over at Web Tennis that is just, it's open, it's available to anyone who goes in there. But it basically asks the question, mentally, what's the one thing that you really want to figure out mentally? And one of the responses was, how do I stop thinking and start playing instinctively in matches? And look, let's take it from a different angle in terms of, well, why do we think, right? Why do we think in matches, which inhibits us from playing instinctively? And instinctively to me means that when your opponent plays a shot back to you, the ball comes over the net, you instinctively have a shot choice in mind. I mean, unless you're just starting to play the game, I don't know, how many shots have you played in practice and matches? Thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. I mean, who knows? I mean, I'm sure it's more than that. But the reality is that we've all played so much tennis that we instinctively kind of have a shot choice, whether we actually, consciously think about it or not. And it's our initial shot choice, right? And again, I'm getting back to why do we, how do we play instinctively? Well, that's number one, right? Well, the thing that gets in the way of that instinctive shot choice is not trusting it, right? But let's say that you go ahead and let's say that you do trust your shot choice. Let's say, well, you know what? I'm going to play this forehand cross court. But then all of a sudden you go, well, I'm not sure if my spacing's right. I'm not sure if this is right, if my prep is right. Again, you are not trusting that you can actually produce stroke technique without thinking about it. So how do you kind of go away from that? Because I think we would all agree, if you do any study on the mental thing of athletic performance, is that if you don't trust, and it could be all these little minute decisions that we would make in whatever sport we're playing, if you don't trust it, then you end up having to manufacture stuff consciously, and it just doesn't work. I mean, it can work, but it's it's not something that's, I guess, would be sustainable, right? So think about it this way too. Like when you're receiving serve, and I know that we all have experienced this, and we bring this up as an example frequently. Your returning serve could be singles, could be doubles, but in the guy, you can tell right off the bat that the serve that's incoming to you is going to be a foot out, maybe a foot and a half out, whatever. It's clearly going to be out, right? And what do we do? You have to swing because it's close enough to where you can't tell until the last second that, all right, well, this thing was out. And what do? Is you swing away freely, right? And everything is like, just, wow, how do I recreate that? And then, of course, the guy throws in this little wimpy second serve, and we get tighter in the drum, and we can barely swing, right? So here's what I think happens in that situation. In when that guy hits a serve and we just swing right through, it's perfect, right? So first of all, I don't think that we go into the manufacturing mode in terms of how to do something, right? And everyone's think, well, I think the big thing is that players go, well, there's no result, there's no consequence for missing. Okay, but if you dig deeper on that thing, it's that you completely trust your subconscious to manufacture whatever swing, whatever timing, whatever spacing, all that stuff, and you just trust it. And so that's when you don't think about it. And so how do we get that, right? How do we get that from, let's say, the practice arena, or maybe from you're on the court with your pro and the guy's feeding you underhand balls and you're looking like $1,000,000, and then he brings out an opponent for you to play a few games so that he can observe how you play. And next thing you know is that you don't look like $1,000,000, right? So how do you take the practice thing and move it over to the match? This is the 2-step practice plan, and it includes, and this is actually part of the course package that I've got for you guys today with the underspin backhand. And it's a 2-step practice plan: the conscious thinking in practice, and then the subconscious not thinking. Maybe, I don't know if that's right, but it's subconscious thinking or subconscious not thinking. Either one, you get the idea. You want to be able to turn off the thinking mode that you had in the practice arena and just play instinctively, right? And for me, it's what I'm calling a little hypey maybe, but it's the match play magic trifecta. And for me, the trifecta, 3 things that I do once I start a match. And look, it's all about shot choice. It's all about timing with the incoming ball. And it's all about my alignment at contact. And all of these things add up. The trifecta all add up to trust. I trust that I don't. And look, I'll be the first one to admit it. I mean, it's taken me a long time to kind of get to this point, because as a teaching pro for 50 plus years, what have I done? Well, I've analyzed, students from across the net. I've analyzed their technique. And I'll be the first one to admit, I probably have overtaught technique until the last few years. And that was the whole premise behind What's the Right Shot, or it is the whole premise behind that video series of What's the Right Shot, is to get players to think initially Two things. Number one, where do I want to play my shot over there? And it's basically, well, where do I want it to land? Which equates to, well, what's my target above the top of the net? That's number one, right? So it's shot choice. And then two is, where do you want to move to next on the court? And what I've discovered over the last few years is that a lot of players, with whatever they've got technique wise, if they stop thinking technique and they start focusing only on shot choice, that's the first thing, right? And trusting it. And then, where do you want to move to next on the court? Where's the next best court position based on your shot choice? And so, again, to get back to all the technique for me of watching players, watching students and observing and studying technique and thinking that really has got to be ground zero. Well, what I came away from all that is, when I would go out and play a match, that's all I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about technique. And I knew after talking to the top guys in lots of different age groups, is that the key to them playing really well is there's no thinking about that stuff going on. There's no thinking about technique. It really does get back to, where do I want to play my next shot, and where am I going to move to next on the court? And that's it. And look, if you're struggling with some stroke in your toolbox, fine and dandy. Don't try to fix it during the match, but just kind of put it in the back of your head, hey, when this match is over, I got to make sure I go back on the practice court and work this one thing out. So, how do you stop thinking these things? Well, it takes practice, right? I have to practice it. I got to practice my match play magic trifecta in a practice arena. I've got to practice my between points routine, right? We've talked a lot about why you've got to manage that time between points so that you clear the slate of whatever just happened in the last point. You don't want to bring any emotional baggage along for the next point. You got to clear it out so that you have clarity about what your intention is of how you want to start the next point, right? Again, we got to get away from, well, what's my intention to win the next point? Because if I win the next point, then that means I'm up 40-15, and I'm up 40-15. Maybe I got a point to slop around with. I'll still be at 40-30, but when I'm up 40-30, then I'll win the game. And now I'm up 5-3. That guy's serving at 3-5. And look, and you know where it goes, right? We start to get tight. And so again, for me, it's all about cleaning the slate between points so that when I start the next point, when I'm serving, that I've got a clear target in mind, a clear type of serve as how I want to start the next point, not the result, but how you want to start the next point. And when you're returning serve, for me, it's more like, if I get, this is more of kind of that if-then formula, right? If I get this serve from this opponent, then here's why. Then here's how I want to return to start the point. And how do you know that? Well, you don't. When you're returning serve, you're not in control of being able to say, well, I'm going to take this return of serve no matter what, and I'm going to drill it up the line, or I'm going to drill it cross court, or I'm going to do this or do that, where you're not in control of what that opponent is going to give you. So it could be that you have to go quickly. Your intentions might be that, hey, man, this guy's been serving me body for the entire first set. I'm going to look for that. And if I get it, here's what I'm going to do. So that's my whole thing between points, is you got to clean the slate, or clear the slate from the last point. And then really just kind of get clarity is, how do you want to start the next point? And that's it. So play instinctively. You got to practice. You've got to practice that thing of shot choice and where do you want to move in the next court. And where do you want to move next on the court? And again, my trifecta during the point, not between points, but during the point, is based on three things. Is number one, shot choice. Is number two, timing. And number three is going to be posture and alignment through contact. How do I want that to be? So look, guys, if you want to dig in deeper, especially on this trifecta, pick up this bundle today. You got to do it by tonight at midnight. And I do a really deep dive on it. And I think that it'll make a lot of sense to you. And it's something worth considering, kind of like what I say with all my teaching. Look, this is stuff that is either working for me now, or maybe it's stuff that I'm bringing up, a story that, hey, that thing didn't work or that thing did work. So my teaching is really based on my experience, right? Of what's worked for me, what has not worked for me, and I'm giving you options of things to consider. I think anyone out there who's teaching and saying there is only one way to do this one thing, I just don't believe that. I just think the game is way too personal, way too unique. There's way too many ways to hit a standard forehand rally ball. There's way too many ways to hit a backhand dropper. I mean, sure, there are a few little fundamentals in there, but basically you got to work through it yourself. No one's got the magic formula for anything other than what's worked for them. And that's a good option for you to consider as a place to start. All right, guys, that's it for me today. Look, again, midnight tonight Pacific, this offer is off the table for a couple of reasons, because the price is going to go back up, but the bonuses are just not going to be included. So if you are floating that slice backhand and it's sitting up over there, maybe it's sitting up too short, letting that opponent take advantage of it, then I really want to show you how to be able to drive it and make sure that it skids low through that bounce on the other side, so that not only is it going to create a lot of offensive opportunities for you in terms of balls that you can now get back and really do some damage on the next shot. But I just think that the disguise from a proper underspin backhand drive, the disguise for a drop shot, the disguise for when they do come in and they drop, you can then make it look like you're going to pass. So maybe they close, and at the same look, you lob over their backhand. I know, diabolical, kind of mean, but that's the reality, right? You can play a passing shot with this as well. Kind of depends on the type of incoming ball. But all of those situations I just detailed for you, I want to show you how to play it in this package I've got for you. The link is down below in the description area, or look for an email today from me with that link. Guys, love to hear from you either in the comments area, or you can shoot me an email, brent@webtennis.com. And as always, it's time. Get out there. Come on. Nothing else. Get out there today. Help another human being have a great day. Guys, I'll see you again tomorrow.